And also, though, if I share my screen,
We are live.
you
Remember.
won't be able to see. Oh gosh. Okay. But if I share my screen, y'all won't be able to see my face, right? It'll just, because you'll just be watching the video via my screen.
No, we'll be able to see your face.
You will?
So
Yeah.
how do I make that? That's going to be annoying. I don't want the echo. I don't want the playback real time.
Okay, well, let me,
Hello, YouTube.
okay, let me mute myself.
I'm gonna wave at YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Okay, so here we are.
I'm ready with the video. So I just share my screen,
Yep.
right? Is that good? Oh, can y'all hear me?
And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna look at a review of the book, The Four Agreements, and we're gonna review the review. We haven't read the book yet, so we're all excited to see what we think about it next week or in a few weeks. But that's what we're doing now.
Okay. So now I will share my screen so we can watch the video of what we're reacting to. So let me share that. Where is it? Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Saran, and today I am reviewing The Four Agreements, which is the second book on my list of 17 books that I am reading, reviewing, and resourcing in this year, 2017. So The Four Agreements, I first found out about this book when my mom actually gifted me with The Fifth Agreement, which is a book that was written after this, like a sequel book. And in the book, it was talking about this Toltec wisdom that the Four Agreements held. And I started doing research on the book and found that it was like world renowned. And Don Miguel Ruiz, who was the author of it, is like a spiritualist and someone who people look up to. So I said, okay, gotta read the Four Agreements. It was another book that everyone was telling me that I should read and that a few of my mentors told me that they gained from. So I decided that I was going to jump forward and read the Four Agreements. So the book is broken up into chapters. It starts by talking about Toltec wisdom. The Toltec people are native to the Mexico region, and the author, Don Miguel Ruiz, is a descendant of the indigenous Toltec people of the region who passed down all of these ideas and concepts that they use to fuel and sustain their civilization and society hundreds of years ago. And it talks about the importance of looking at the self and understanding how the self connects to other aspects of our world, the heavens, hell, the people that we are coming in contact with always, and basically how spirituality just flows in and out of everything that we see, everything that we do, everything that we are. So the book is definitely a spiritual book. It's written in the second person, which is interesting. So it says, you will experience this, and this is what you will encounter, and this is how you feel, or this is what you might feel. So it's an interesting way to read it. It kind of feels like a self-help book, but it's written with very basic language, and it talks about very simple things that you can do to improve your life. So at first it's like you read it and you're like, okay, I can do that.
She's very passionate.
It goes into why it's so challenging for us to follow these four agreements and why it's so important that we do so if we want to live a successful, happy life. So I'm not going to tell you too much about what's inside of the book, but I wanted to just go through briefly what each of the four agreements is about. So the first agreement in this book is be impeccable with your word. So the author is saying that our words are so powerful and so meaningful, and that we actually cast spells with our tongue when we speak about other things that are going on around us, specifically other people and their circumstances and their lives. So he uses words like black magic. He talks about hell, and he says that when we speak, we create spells. When we say negative things about people, we're actually casting spells on them that he says last years. These spells last years. So it's interesting.
At first, I was thinking she was like saying like, words are so powerful. We need to talk like affirmations or something. But instead, it's like we're casting spells on people. This is interesting.
Because immediately upon reading the first agreement, I started to be mindful of everything I was saying. I was like, okay, wait, be impeccable with your word. And that was one thing that I would say overall that I really, really liked about this book, is that there was immediate gratification for me. Like once I read it and I put it down, I could feel myself and the change and how I was moving and how I was going about my day, which is really interesting. So if you decide to read this book, which I advise that you do, just be prepared for it to really be impactful immediately upon opening it. The first page, the second page, the third page, it hits you and you're like, okay, this is real. And I think the author has a unique way of making the circumstances that he uses as examples in this book relevant to everyday lives. Like the things that he brings up as a way to educate us about the four agreements is very, very relatable for everyone. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. So that was my favorite agreement upon reading the book. He talked about how people do things because of themselves and not because of you. So any decision that anyone makes, any action that someone takes towards you in your direction about you, it's really, really not about you. It's really about them and where they are in that moment and how they're living their lives so that they can accomplish whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish in that moment. The really interesting thing about don't take in anything personally is that he also talks about how we have to be the same way when things are positive, when we get positive feedback and when we get positive reinforcement. He says, don't take that personal as well. So just as easily as somebody could tell you, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, you're brilliant, somebody could tell you, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're ugly. And either way, you can't take it personal. You have to know that the reason why people are saying things to you is because of where they are in their world and their perception of how you fit into their world.
So she's saying that don't take compliments either, basically, because whether they're saying great things about you or negative things about you, don't take it personally. Am I understanding
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you're only hearing how they're reacting to their world. It has nothing to do with you. You're just a data point.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's not necessary because what he calls it unnecessary suffering. Unnecessary suffering will come as a result of taking anything personally because you start to have expectations for what people will give you, and you start to just feel like you have to be
Entitlements.
for other people all the time because you want people to say things to you or you want people to give you things and you don't.
It's wanting a lot of likes all the time. People do validation.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, Sean, say that again.
No, Joseph, go ahead. You're right.
Oh, it's wanting validation and wanting a lot of likes, and whether it's good or bad, it gives them some power over you. And I think it's real interesting because the first one was basically your words are powerful, right? And the second one is don't let other people's words have power over you. So it's kind of like
the first one is, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is really a reflection on yourself. The next one is have a force field and understand they're only talking about themselves, not about you. So don't feel empowered by them, whether it's good or bad, whether they're tearing you down or giving you compliments. Don't fall into the trap of needing that energy from them.
Okay, interesting.
How you really must remain neutral if you want to live a successful life free from suffering. So that's the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. He talks about how you have to have the courage to ask questions and you have to be willing to take the time out to really find the answers, and how so often we just assume things, we just say we understand, and others make assumptions about us, and how that just fills us with misunderstanding, which he says causes pain. He says you know, the root of pain is confusion and misunderstanding. And if you don't make assumptions, if you just take out the time to ask people what it is that they feel or what it is that they have to share, or where are they in a moment when you decide in your mind that you already know, that you avoid so much misunderstanding, and that it actually empowers you to not feel like you have to judge people. And in judging people, you're judging yourself, you know. And that was an interesting thing that I saw that went through all 4 of the agreements, was that he found a way to educate the reader by saying everything that you do is a result of you. When you cause other people pain, you cause yourself pain. When you judge other people, you judge yourself. When you make other people uncomfortable, you make yourself uncomfortable. So that was definitely highlighted in the 3rd agreement, which was don't make assumptions, where he just talks about how we have to have the courage and the patience to just be willing to look for the answers. The 4th agreement is always do your best, which says that every day your best is going to be different. Sometimes you're going to be on 100, sometimes you're going to be on 85, sometimes you're going to be on 27, but you have to just give whatever you can give in that moment. You can't put pressure on yourself to just.
Wrong. You're always got to be doing your 80%. Just kidding.
You got to do the 80-20.
No, she's saying that 80% of the time you can be 20%.
What?
I'm
No.
sorry, 20% of the time you can be 80%.
No, that's not how it works, though.
No, actually, it talks about whatever energy level you have, you need to give all that energy, regardless of what level it's at.
Okay.
So if you're hungover and you still need to go to work, then you need to do the best you can hungover while you're working.
Okay.
But if you are the best that you can be in every day, you will avoid self-abuse, you will avoid self-destruction, and you will avoid regret. Self-abuse was a really interesting term that he used, because he was saying that when we try to give more than we can give, we abuse ourselves. And very often we forget about our position in our lives, and we just give so much to people, give, which everyone is guilty of in their own way, and how that causes self-abuse. So he's saying just give what you can give in every moment, nothing less, nothing more, and be the best that you can be.
I'm exhausted.
He wraps up the book.
You're exhausted from hearing all this?
I'm exhausted. All this stuff sounds like an energy drain, all of it. I mean, just, you know, you have to always be on your best. You have to always not take what everybody else is saying. You have to always deflect. I mean, it sounds like a lot of energy here.
But that, I feel like, according to the 4th one, is not doing that. Like, doing your best that you can. She just said don't give 100%, but don't give, anything less or more. So just do what you can. So if you're already exhausted, don't give any more.
Okay. All right. Just kind of take a nap. I got it. Cool.
No, well, that's basically, she just went over all the 4. I think she was very thorough. So
she was very thorough.
She just did our jobs for us. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's not a very long book, so I mean, I think you kind of got it.
Okay, well, I'll be interesting to read ourselves, or myself, and see if there's any other additional insight. I don't hear a lot of stories. Like, she's not giving a lot of examples, just a little bit of generalizations.
I think it's like a 2-hour read. I mean, it's not a very long book, so.
Okay, well, we will find out. Thank you. I didn't catch your name.
I think it was I forgot. It started with an S.
She did say it.
Oh, Sharon.
Shara
Saran.
says, we appreciate your book review. We're going to put our own spin on it coming soon. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, watching our live video. We're going to be discussing that book coming up, so let us know what you think about it. Okay, and don't forget, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. With every book in life. See y'all next time.